X-Men 97 has been kind of the big fad hit on Disney Plus here recently, and I think for a lot of MCU fans, I can see why this has been a pretty positively received show. I, on the other hand, kind of come in with mixed feelings. I'll be honest off the top, I never really watched the X Men animated series, and as a whole, I'm probably not the biggest X Men fan as a whole. I find that they just tell the same storyline over and over and over and over and over, and I think in this show it showed over and over and over and over again. And I'm going to go into why, for me, the series did not work that well. So sit back and let's take in X Men 97 and why I think it's a bit overrated, at least to me. Now, I, for one, am never one going to slam animation, and I have to say off the bat, starting with positives, the animation in the show are pretty solid throughout. They're not going to be your heavy 3D type that you see in other shows that go above and beyond the medium, I think, that what people are expecting nowadays. These are very much your classic, generic 2D animations, which perfectly fine. You can tell great stories with those, and I think in parts of this show, you get some of those good stories. And I just want to give a shout out to all the animators who worked on this project because they don't get enough love in this world. And so much of animation these days is thrown away to just kids type stuff. And while I think that's the case in some parts of X-Men 97, it definitely tried to be more mature and a little bit more edgy than you're used to when it comes to, say, a Marvel animated TV show. Overall, there were parts of the show I really liked, and going into the positives, I really, really did like the idea of Jean and Madeline kind of being a clone in the beginning, and I kind of wish that story arc and that storyline played out longer throughout the season. It was like a one episode type arc, maybe two episodes max, and it just felt very sad to see it kind of come and go. I really think that could have been something that played out throughout even more, and we could have gotten a really more interesting deep dive onto who and what actually is Jean and Madeline, and maybe where does Scott's loyalties lie a bit, because I really feel like it's a show copped out of what is really true, which is that Scott was in love with Madeline because that's who he might have experienced him with. And never knowing when this swap happened or how long it happened, again, maybe wasn't exactly a point that they wanted to go into, but it definitely put a little hamper on it for me. I also enjoyed bits and pieces of the sinister villain. Again, he was not played up as much as I would have liked. Bastion came in as the kind of big overall villain in the story, and I think Bastion as a whole, because he was hidden for so long, was super underwhelming as the overarching villain of the story. And then I kind of enjoyed Magneto's run where he was trying to act like Charles and do the right thing as leader of the X-Men per se. But as the story goes on, the big issue I have with X-Men 97 is it falls into the same exact trap that every X-Men movie or property I've ever seen is, which is Magneto bad, he wants to kill humans, X-Men are trying to save themselves, and the humans are kind of left like, do we really trust mutants? Because people like Magneto are literally causing issues and threatening to make us go extinct, or do we just trust the X-Men blindly? And the show definitely tackles that element a bit. I don't know exactly how well it landed for me. Again, it felt like the same story arc and storyline, and I was looking forward to maybe a little bit different type of story. The idea that Charles was not obviously going to be involved in the first part, I kind of got excited by let Charles come in season 2. I wish that would have been a cliffhanger or something to bring up the next season. I think a lot of the season could have been spread out over multiple seasons when it comes to storyline. And there's sometimes, though, during the season where it felt like they didn't know what to write or do. Episode 4 was a big one for me. The Jubilee and the... I'm trying to think what his name is. Roberto and their relationship. There was one episode where they were like, half of it was dedicated to them in a video game. Completely thrown away plot point, plot line that was basic and just not needed. And it was put into a second half of the story arc where you had Storm meeting with somebody, and again, they felt like two type of stories where they wanted this to happen, but they weren't really actually enough there to be a full episode on their own. So you get this really. Sorry, it's late for me. It's 1:45 a.m. I've been watching this from beginning to end, and the episode 4 just felt like it's thrown together. And I feel like that's kind of the theme for a lot of parts of the season. It feels like they're throwing stuff together, and it didn't have the best through line throughout. But in the end, though, I think X-Men 97 delivers on what people wanted, which I think if you're an X-Men fan, if you like the animated X-Men series, you probably enjoyed this quite a lot. And there's nothing wrong with you guys enjoying the show, and you have every right to praise and love this show and give it all the love you have. For me, it didn't deliver in a lot of ways. The voice acting, I said in a lot of my tweet threads, was very underwhelming, especially from Cyclops. I just wanted to kill Cyclops. I was hoping he would die because I got annoyed at his voice. But overall, the voice acting was pretty bad, and I feel like some of the dialogue writing was also very poor and very amateur at best. When I think back of my X-Men 97 kind of binge through here, I see there's a lot of positives. I love the Rogue Gambit dynamic. I wish we got more of that. Again, it could have played out more. Even Rogue Magneto was a fun little relationship, but the show got kind of bogged down by becoming the same old story and something that I've seen so many times with the X-Men, and it leaves me kind of feeling just overall, it was fine. I don't know if I can recommend it to any non-X-Men fans to ever watch it, but I guess you can't complain too much. Overall, I'm going to give X-Men 97 a basic silver rating. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't really any great for me, and that's just my personal opinion. There's a lot of people out there who love the X-Men, who love this show, and they should love this show. My opinion does not mean anybody can be right or wrong. It's just how I felt coming out of this. I felt very lackluster and just very just like, okay, this was a thing. But for all the people out there who love X-Men 97, you should love it, and you should be proud that you love it, and you should not be afraid to say that you love it. Give it the high ratings, give it the high praise. Tell me in the comments that I'm wrong, because it's what this is all about. So that was my X-Men 97 thoughts. I promised a friend I would do a video on this, so I stayed up all evening and night till almost 2 a.m. in the morning recording this video, gonna put it together, and just, that's my thoughts. Also, caveat, if you're gonna do this many cameos of Avengers and other characters in the Marvel Universe, don't have them sit on the sidelines when the world is ending like they did, because it makes them look stupid and it makes the whole script look stupid. Either have cameos where they come in and help there, or don't do cameos at all, because the cameos here just made the Avengers and everything about that look completely stupid, inadequate, and I hated every bit of it because it added nothing to the story but making me think, why are they not trying to do anything here? Okay, mini rant over. That's X-Men 97. Have a great time, and I hope you guys stick around if you like this and subscribe.